welcome to week 2 of the Debrief Series. Turn to episode 2 of your digital workbook if you've been following along, and if you haven't, it's not too late. Subscribe to the newsletter for a copy. Now, let's get into it. Welcome to the School After Hours podcast, where we talk about all things related to out-of-school time programming and education. I am your host, Jay Lee, and today we're talking about something that can completely change the quality of your next program cycle: your staff debrief process. A lot of youth programs spend so much time focused on student outcomes that they forget one major truth. Your program quality is directly connected to staff experience. If you don't intentionally reflect with your team after programming ends, you miss valuable information that could improve staffing decisions, training systems, team communication, program culture, and retention. So in this episode, we're breaking down how to structure staff debrief conversations, how to identify strengths and gaps, but also how to think strategically about retention and rehiring. Let's go ahead and get into it. Here's a little secret I want to let you in on. It's not a good thing to only talk to staff when something goes wrong. As a leader, it's important to have a good rapport with staff to positively impact program culture. Therefore, when it's time to have big conversations like a debrief meeting, it doesn't feel like it's a discipline conversation, but it feels like it's a reflection conversation. The goal for something like this is not to blame. The goal is to incite. Your staff see things leadership might miss, like student behavior patterns, schedule problems, engagement shifts, team dynamics, operational issues, etc. And often frontline staff know exactly what systems break down. But if you never ask, you'll never know. Debriefs also help staff feel valued. When people feel heard, they are more likely to return. And in youth programming, retention matters because rebuilding an entire team every year is exhausting. Now, let's talk about how you should structure your debrief conversation. Please know that your debrief process needs a structure. If you simply ask, "So how did things go?" you'll usually get surface level answers. Instead, organize your conversations around categories so that you can go deeper and get different perspectives. Let's start with category 1, program success. This will let you know where your success areas are within your program and what needs to be maintained. Ask staff what worked well in our program, what activities had the highest engagement, what systems help staff succeed, and what should absolutely stay the same. Just because something worked doesn't mean it aligns with what you want to do next year. So keep that in mind. Next is category 2, challenges. Ask staff, where did they feel unsupported? What caused the most stress? What systems created confusion? And what behavior challenges came up repeatedly? This is the opportunity to get that different perspective I mentioned earlier. Asking these questions will help expose some of the blind spots you may have about your program and come up with solutions to fix them as a team. Next up, we have category 3, communication. Communication is key for any organization. Without the right systems for communication, you'll find yourself playing a game of telephone, and we all know how that goes. So here's some questions to ask for clarity. Was communication clear when a task needed to be completed? Were expectations consistent? When it came to specific things in the program, did your staff feel informed? And last but not least, what communication systems need improvement? Let's move on to category 4, training and support. To maintain program quality standards, it's important that staff feel equipped to do their job. Take time to ask your group, did they feel prepared to do their job after orientation? What additional training would have helped after their 90-day plan? What situations made staff feel stuck? And what could you do better to support them in future things? Last category for this specific section is future planning. Now, future planning is important. Now that you have all this information, you have the tools to go ahead and start putting some pieces together for the following year. So take some time to ask your staff this. What should change next year? What resources are missing that we need to be successful? And what would make this program stronger? These debrief conversations can happen one-on-one, in a small group, or through an anonymous forum. And honestly, you can do a mixture of all three if that's what suits you and it gets you what you need. Now let's move to identifying staff strengths and gaps. There's a strategy to staffing. Every staff member brings a different strength. Some people are strong relationship builders, some are highly organized, some are great at behavior management, some bring creativity and energy to the team. That's me. And some staff may need additional support, which is completely understandable. Knowing all of this, your debrief process should help answer these questions. Who elevated the program? Who needs more training? Who consistently solves problems? Who struggled with expectations? And what gaps existed on the team overall? This is important. Don't only evaluate staff based on personality. Evaluate based on reliability, adaptability, communication, initiative, student relationships, professionalism, and growth mindset. Also, identify system gaps, because sometimes a staff member struggled not because they weren't incapable, but because the systems aren't there. So note, strong leaders look at both people and systems. After all of this, now we can discuss retention. Retention should never be an afterthought. The end of the program is the best time to identify who you want to come back, who should move into leadership, who needs coaching, and who may not be right for the program moving forward. One mistake programs make is waiting too long to reconnect with strong staff. If someone was excellent, tell them. Let them know you want them back. Keep relationships warm, because great youth workers are always in demand. And the last thing you want to happen is to lose a good youth worker because they were not aware how well they were doing. So take time to ask other leadership and higher administration a couple of questions. How can we support staff growth? What leadership pathways exist that we could potentially put some people in? How do we reduce burnout based on the information that we received during this debrief? And last but not least, how do we make staff feel invested in this mission? Retention is not just about pay. It's also about culture, clarity, support, and feeling valued. Your team is one of your greatest program assets, and the end of programming gives you a valuable opportunity to reflect honestly, learn from staff experience, identify strengths and gaps, and build a strong team for next year. Don't run through the debriefing process, because the lessons your staff share today can prevent the same problems tomorrow. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode where we'll break down the 3 W's reflection framework. What's working, what's not, and what needs to be tweaked. Well, everyone, that brings us to the end of our show. If you liked what you heard and you enjoyed our conversation, make sure that you're following us on YouTube, but also hit that like button so we know what you are enjoying. You can also find us on other podcast platforms like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts if you want to listen to our audio version as well. To get more behind the scenes stuff, make sure that you're following us on our social media accounts, Instagram and Facebook at School After Hours. Well, that's all I have for today. In the words of Mr. Arthur Ashe, start where you are, use what you have, do what you can. Until next time, y'all. Bye-bye.